question. What do you prefer, being poor and free from the developed countries, or being a slave and rich from the developed countries? The answer will be answer later. So enjoy the video. Remember to listen careful.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. On that note, poverty does not mean you are useless. One day we will resist. Who will say the truth? Good morning. Please, when you come, share this video for me. My name is Lifestone GH. As always, a lot may know me, some may not. This morning, this video is streaming live on 3 platforms: Pan-African Voices on Facebook, Blacknificent Media on Facebook, and therefore Chronicles of Avram Moshe also on Facebook. This morning, I'm here to speak my mind, and for the sake of some audiences that give me the go-ahead to come and do this video, I like to speak not in a native language, but in English, because this message is actually going somewhere. And because of that, please forgive me. I'm here to speak English. I'm not speaking in any local dialect. Thank you for your understanding. And please, before I begin my programs, I normally used to say this. There are a lot of things happening on social media and TV today. GTV is on, Adom Sports Plus. A whole lot of things are happening, even on Facebook. Some people are beefing. They're saying all sorts of things. Please, you have the right to join any of these platforms. If you come here and you think you don't like what I'm saying, please kindly leave the platform.
I disagree. You have the right to be there, but you have to make sure that your claims are based on facts.
I don't want any comments that will cause distraction, because I want to talk to sensible people to listen. So if you think you don't like this, you go away for people to enjoy the program. This morning, I'm here to address 3 main things. The first is the e-levy. You see, some of us wish to do more, but it is not easy being in the fire and also fanning the coal pot at the same time. If you understand what I'm saying. If you are in the fire and you are fanning the coal pot at the same time, it's not easy. It's life-threatening. That is why some of us choose to sometimes remain quiet, remain silent, and look at how things unfold. It's not like we are not fighting for a better country. We are doing it, but we choose to keep some silent. There are a lot of things happening since last week on social media, and we need to talk. So now, let's go straight to the e-levy. You see, when you have a leadership of a country who knows for a fact that 80% of their citizens are actually illiterate,
Ghana population is now 31 million. He said 80% of Ghanaians are illiterate, do not know how to read or write. How do we calculate that? We know that the population of Ghana is 31 million. We know that 80% Ghanaians are illiterate. Now we need to find out how many of 31 million Ghanaians are illiterate. 31 million. We add 20% to the 80% to make it 100%. The full population of Ghana. Then we do this. 31 million of population of Ghana divided by 100% is 0.31. Now we times the 0.31 with the 80% and you get 24. Meaning 24 million Ghanaians are illiterate, do not know how to read or write. Then we minus the 31 million of population from the 24 million illiterate equals 6.2 million. Is that really true that only 6.2 million Ghanaians can read and write?
Okay? When you have a leadership of a country that knows that 80% of their citizens are illiterate, they will force you into doing anything stupid for you to accept it. Because why? They know you are illiterate, you cannot reason, you cannot think for yourselves. So at the end of the day, they keep you as slaves. Had that not been the case, this issue was e-levy would have not even popped up in Ghana. But because the leadership we know knows this, they know for a fact the majority of the citizens are illiterate, who do not understand what finances, who do not even understand the need to survive. So yes, they will impose everything onto the citizenry to accept it, whether it's good or it's bad, for their own personal benefit. What is e-levy? E-levy is the government trying to tell you that, look, we are suffering in the country. We need money. So therefore, we have to generate an avenue to get enough money to take care of the country. By this means, we want to tax the people. Taxing the people is not wrong. Look, no one is saying taxing is wrong. If you want to tax me, taxing citizens is never wrong. But how you tax the citizens and the kind of tax you take from your people can also make you be a thief or an armed robber, robbing your own people, not at a gunpoint, but in the name of leadership and in the name of not having sense to actually know the right direction. The government wants to tell me that we are in the 21st century. People, countries have started advocating for a cashless communities. They want everything to go cashless because, look, when we look at the money that is even spent on printing the notes, the currency that we use is even very expensive. So we are looking for other mediums in which we can transact our monetary services without it being expensive. One of those things that have come to light today is something that we call the mobile money avenue. The government of Ghana is telling me that no, I have to tax you on this money because I do not have adequate funds to take care of the country. And people don't get this. People do not understand this. Let me explain what e-levy means in a simple term. This is what the government is telling you. And if you're a government worker and you are supporting the e-levy, I would say you are out of your mind, or maybe you don't you don't deserve what you have, or you don't deserve the position you currently hold. If you're any government worker, I see supporting e-levy, I think they are the most funniest and the most sad people. You see, I look at them and I feel pity for them. This is the reason. Government worker, upon receiving your salary, governments have already deducted every tax that is on the salary. So what you get in your bank account is your mean salary. After the government have done every deduction, the government pays you your mean salary. The money, your salary has already been taxed. Not one tax, not two. I look at the pay slips of Ghanaian workers. I just imagine the number of tax that they pay on their salary. After the government have done this, the mean salary that you have, in the old ages, we take this money, we put it in our pocket, so that when we go to town and we want to transact with the money, it becomes easier. But for the sake of technology and modernity, we have realized that putting the money even in your pocket is not safe to be roaming out with. So we realize mobile money is a good avenue for you to keep your money. The mobile money on your phone is simply one thing: your personal wallet. The wallet that you could have put in your pocket. The purse that you could have hold to put all your money inside. You don't want it to be physical so that you can protect it. So this time, you want it to be electronic.
But you need cybersecurity. It costs money to protect your money. You do know that. Criminals are on mobile money and the internet. They can rob you in a second. All your money gone with a click. Clearly you do not know that.
The government of Ghana is telling you that after I have deducted tax from your salary and given you the one I think is fit for you, the mean salary that you go to take, I also want to tax that money. And I'm taxing every bit of money that you are going to take from that money for consumption. People do not reason. People cannot think. So they support anything.
Government workers get paid from taxation. If there is no money, they don't get paid.
that is out there because of political ideologies, because of partisan politics, because of tribal politics. People cannot think and reason.
The answer. It doesn't matter if you choose poor and free. You are still a slave. Being poor is the same as being a slave. When Lee Kuan Yew came to Africa, the man that transferred poor Singapore into rich modern Singapore, he learned that Africans prefer to be poor and slaves to developed countries. Because the rich will always exploit the poor and the slave. It's better to be a slave with a mission. Singapore, China, etc. Learn everything fast from the developed countries. Buy yourself out slavery. Becoming rich and powerful. You can now start exploiting poor countries.
So the government is now telling you that, look, I don't have money to take care of you. I don't have money to take care of the country. So after I have taxed your salary, the money that I'm giving to you, I have to tax it. Let me break it into details. Now, after the government is taxing my own personal pocket, the government is taxing the money in my pocket, in my wallet, okay? Because it is electronic. After the government have taxed this money on every transaction that I'm going to do. So let's take, for example, I enter a supermarket to shop, okay? I've already paid VAT on every item at the shop. That money is going straight to the government. There is already a VAT levy on every item you go to buy at the supermarket. That money automatically is going to the Ghana government. The Ghana government is now telling you the money that you are using to buy the things that I've already taxed, I also want to tax that money 1.75%. What kind of sensible leadership is this? People don't get this thing. The government is telling you that you are already paying VAT on the items that you are buying at the shop. But the money that you are using to pay for the item, I also have to tax this money, 1.75%. That is not taxation. That is robbery. That is theft. This is thievery. This is just the government telling you, I am robbing you at a gunpoint on a daylight robbery. And whether you like it or not, you must pay.
The threat of the First World War hung like a dark cloud over Europe when Finance Minister Willem Troob introduced a new income tax in 1914. This tax applied to income from work, business and capital, while the wealth tax taxed the value of the capital itself. The highest rate was 5%. The collapse of stock prices on Wall Street, 1929, ushered in a global economic crisis. The Netherlands suffered from extreme unemployment. New income was desperately needed to support all the unemployed. Among other things, the fuel tax, later known as the petrol excise, had to provide extra financial resources from 1931 onwards. The shortage of money also led to the introduction of the sales tax in 1934. This taxed goods from Dutch producers and importers, except for the basic necessities, at a rate of 4%. Luxury goods were subject to a higher rate of 10%. Queen Juliana ascended the throne in 1948. A year later, Lifstone managed to tell the House of Representatives on Princess Dag that the national budget was in balance much faster than expected. For 1950, income and expenses of 3,540 million guilders respectively were expected. Wage and income taxes and sales taxes filled the treasury the most. The government revenues mainly went to war and navy, finance and the repayment of the government debt. Between 1900 and 1950, the tax burden increased from 9% to 24% of gross domestic product. Also during the 60s there were changes in the financial landscape. Among other things, the gaming tax, 1961, joined the list of national levies, as did the renewed turnover tax or the value-added tax, VAT, on all goods and services, 1969. Basic necessities were covered by a low rate 4%, all other products by a high rate 12%. In 1980 Beatrix succeeded her mother Juliana as Queen of the Netherlands. At the beginning of her reign, government spending amounted to 60% of gross domestic product. It was the start of a frantic austerity policy, in which the government decided to reduce social regulations, as well as taxes on labor and profits, in order to fully commit to more employment. The budgeted government revenue of the year 2000 amounted to 335 billion guilders. The lion's share of the money flow came from contributions, employee and national insurance. Wage and income tax and sales tax also filled the treasury nicely. For the same year, the government predicted to spend 344 billion guilders.
Most of the funds went to Social Security.
In 2001, income tax underwent a metamorphosis when Minister of Finance Gerrit Zalm introduced the current box system. From now on, three types of income were distinguished: from work and home, Box 1, from substantial interest, Box 2, and from savings and investments, Box 3. The new tax credits, which replaced the tax-free sums, could reduce taxable income from that moment on. To support the construction and housing markets, corporate tax and transfer tax rates decreased. However, public debt was high. In 2009, there was a budget deficit of 9% of gross domestic product. From 2010, excise duties on tobacco and alcohol went up, while the standard rate for VAT rose from 19% to 21%.
And we have some people. There are some so-called educated people, both at home and in the diaspora. And I don't know what kind of brain is in their head. They do not think before they come out to talk. So you see an educated person sitting on a radio station as a panelist, supporting this nonsense of taxation.